Good Yontiv, everyone. Good evening. Erev Tov, Erev Kol Nidre. What a sacred night. We are here to celebrate together. And this is not a green screen. This is our beautiful sanctuary that I stand in with all of you gathered in our hearts, in our digital sanctuary this evening. We're so honored to have you with us. Welcome, Emmanuel members, family, and friends. Welcome, everyone on Facebook. Good Yontiv. We are so glad that you are here with us tonight for this sacred evening. We welcome Canterburn Vogel, who is Zooming in with us from Los Angeles, sending her love and hugs and strength and support. We welcome and thank Jerry Ripley, our choir director, for bringing that beautiful music to you all and continuing to inspire us throughout our services for the next 25 hours. And we welcome each and every one of you. As always, a huge thank you to all of you who helped make this happen. This community does not happen alone. It does not happen by one clergy member. It happens by our temple board, our board of directors, our executive board, our board president, our sisterhood, our members, our family and friends, all coming together to create this sacred experience here tonight. And so we welcome you and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being with us. You can see in the background not only our gorgeous ark with our Etz Chaim on it, and if you could see to the top, you would read our name, Emmanuel, in Hebrew, and the flowers and the Yom Tov candles that are lit. And as it is tradition to light a yahrzeit candle for our loved ones that we are remembering on this sacred Kol Nidre and Yom Kippur, if you have not yet done so, I invite you to gather your yahrzeit candle, which was a gift in your High Holy Day bags, and head to somewhere where you can leave it lit for the next 25 hours. I will light our beautiful yahrzeit candles here in honor of each and every one of your loved ones, so gorgeously carved and created by our very own Sherry Maltzman. We thank you for these beautiful pieces of our special ritual tonight. And if you've already lit your yahrzeit candle, as it is tradition to light it before the sun goes down, I just invite you for the next few moments to think about what is your intention, what is your kavanah this Erev Kol Nidre, the most sacred of holy days of the year. Think about whom and what and from where you wish to offer and accept and grant forgiveness as we light the yahrzeit candles.
Get any candle. Get any candle.
To the synagogue, not to this gentleman. Well, I'm gonna go get the candle.
Hopefully you can see those beautiful yahrzeit candles lit in honor of each and every one of your loved ones. May their memories be for a blessing for you and for our community always. And may their love be with us on this sacred Kol Nidre, and may their legacies inspire us always. Before we begin tonight, a few notes. Some of you may be new to Zoom. You have a little microphone in your left-hand corner. We ask that you remain muted with a few exceptions, and we'll tell you when those times are, when we will invite you to unmute yourselves. So we ask you to do that for the sacredness of our service tonight. And also in the middle of the Zoom box, there's a speech bubble, which is a chat box. It's a wonderful way to send love to your family and friends and community members, to wish them a good yontiv, to tell them you miss them and how you long to be with them, to compliment their stunning tables and beautiful outfits. Please use this feature in order to feel the connection that each and every one of us have tonight in our sacred sanctuary. And with that, we begin our Kol Nidre services. We gather, Emmanuel, on this night in the fading light to acknowledge the ways we have missed the mark, to find the teachable moments of the past year and to acknowledge them. These personal and collective moments where we were less than we could have been, not to be in shame about them, but to let them into the light, to name them and learn from them, to love ourselves even in our imperfections, to love our tribe even when it feels like it fails us. We release and seek compassion, loving kindness, and the skills to create change out of a longing for a love-filled world. May our release provide the space again and again to recreate the world in partnership with the Holy One, and find us worthy of forgiveness, being inscribed and sealed for a year of health, joy, and abundance.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Yom HaKippurim. Baruch atah Adonai,
Machzor on page 15. Kol Nidre, a chant that begins in a whisper and rises to a cry. On this night of promises remembered, each soul in solitude communes with the soul of the universe. God, from this day of atonement to the next, may we reach it in peace. All Israel makes these vows to turn from wrong, dishonesty, and greed, to walk in the path of justice and right. Yet we know our weaknesses, how prone we are to fail. Help us to keep our word. Help us to act with humility and integrity. We seek pardon and forgiveness. We seek your radiance and light. invite you, please, to join me in your machzor, if you have it with you. Kol Nidre is found on page 18. And just a note, sometimes we'll be reciting things together, but you will remain on mute. But how we know you are with us is that we can see your lips moving, and therefore we can feel your hearts praying along with us. So please join me from home. We are on page 18, reading together in the English. All vows, resolves, and commitments, vows of abstinence and terms of obligation, sworn promises and oaths of dedication that we promise and swear to God, take upon ourselves from this day of atonement until the next day of atonement. May it find us well. We regret them, and for all of them we repent. Let all of them be discarded and forgiven, abolished and undone. They are not valid and they are not binding. Our vows shall not be vows. Our resolves shall not be resolves. And our oaths, they shall not be oaths.
Kol Nidre v'sarei v'charamei v'konomei v'chinuyei v'kinosei oshivot Shiva
Please join me in your Machzor on page 19. Give us the strength to keep our promises, the sacred vows of partners in marriage, the promises of love and care between parents and children, the promises of duty between citizens and country, the oaths of doctors, the sacred trust of teachers. Give us the strength to keep our promises to our friends and our colleagues, to those who live with us and depend on us, to those who work for us and those for whom we work, to those who pray with us and those for whom we pray, to those we love and to those we serve. Give us the courage to keep our promises to ourselves, to one another, and to future generations. Join me on page 26 in our Machzor. Love beyond all space and time. Your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. I invite you now to please rise for the Shema, the watchword of our faith, which can be found on pages 28 and 29.
Asher Anochi Metzavecha Hayom Olevavecha Vishinantam Levanecha Vidibarta Bam Bishivtecha Bevetecha Uvlechtecha Baderech Ushochbecha Ukumecha
וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם.
אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם בארץ מצרים, להיות להם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Please join me on page 38. Truth and faith, these are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God. the giver of life who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enduring freedom. And now we sing of that beautiful freedom as we always continue to fight for it. Mi Chamocha is found on page 40. Please join me on page 47. Today and throughout the High Holy Days, the Amidah includes 4 special insertions. Our theme, Zochreinu, reads, "Remember us for life, sovereign God, who treasures life. Inscribe us in the book of life for your sake, God of life. Let us and the whole family of Israel be remembered and inscribed in the book of life. May it be a life of goodness, blessing, and prosperity. May it be a life of peace." We now turn to Zochreinu on page 48. Please join me on page 69 in our Machzor. A butterfly comes and stays on a leaf much warmed by the sun, and shuts his wings. In a minute he opens them, shuts them again, half wheels around and by, just when he chooses and not before, floats away. The flowers open and remain open for hours to the sun. Hasteless is the only word one can make up to describe it. There is much rest, but no haste. Each moment, as with the green finches, is so full of life that it seems so long and so sufficient in itself. Not only the days, but life itself lengthens in summer. I would spread abroad my arms and gather more of it to me, could I do so. We turn now to page 71 in our Machzor. On this night of atonement, grant us, God, a sense of your presence as we call upon your name. Speak your hopeful message to each yearning heart and answer the worthy petitions of each searching soul. Purify and strengthen our noble strivings and cleanse us of all unworthy desires. Join us together in fellowship and in love, and grant us the joy which comes from enriching each other's lives. Help us to be loyal to the heritage we share. Draw us near to Torah in wisdom and in faith. Strengthen our devotion to our people everywhere. Keep alive our faith in righteousness and in truth. Bless us with hopes to uplift our daily lives and keep steadfast our courage and our resolve at all times. On this night of atonement, help us, God, to be worthy of your presence as we call upon your name. We now take a quiet moment, Emmanuel. In a moment, I will open the ark, and I invite you all to rise in your home sanctuaries and pray the prayers, whether out loud or in your hearts, the prayers that you need to offer up to Adonai this evening. Ask for strength, ask for courage, ask for forgiveness, whatever prayers you need to ask on this holiest of holy nights. I will invite you as the ark is opened to do so silently in your homes. We invite you, if you are still reciting your prayers, to continue to do so, and our service continues.
Lie, die, 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 da, da, die, 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 lie, da, die, die, die. On page 82, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gizanu, Dibarnu Tofi. Die, da, die, 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 ya, da, da, die, 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 ya, da, da, die, die, die. He'evinu, ve'hishanu, zanu, chamasnu, tafalnu sheker. Lie, die, 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 da, da, die, 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 da, da, die, die, die. Yatsnura, Kizavnu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Nihatsnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pishanu, Sararnu, Pishinu Oref, Yai dai 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 yai da da dai 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 da da dai 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 Rashanu Shichatnu Tiavnu Ta'inu Titanu.
We now invite you, if you are not already standing, to please rise, make a fist, which we use to pound our chest as we recite together as one community the misgivings, misdoings that we have committed together as a congregation. We are on page 82 in the Vidui section of our Machzor. The English is on the bottom of page 82. Of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely, we are cruel. We scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. We turn now to page 86. Please join me in the English for the Vidui on pages 86 and 87. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for these sins, our God, we ask forgiveness. The ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, and harm we have caused in your world through careless speech. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and the harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, and the harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or a neighbor. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, the ways we have wronged you through violence and abuse, and the harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. Ve'al kulam Elohai slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment, of will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. Please join me in the Machzor on page 98. Hear our call, Adonai, our God. Show us compassion. Accept our prayer with love and goodwill. Take us back, Adonai. Let us come back to you. Renew our days as in the past. Hear our words, Adonai. Understand our unspoken thoughts. May the speech of our mouths and our heart's quiet prayer be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and our Redeemer. Do not cast us away from your presence or cut us off from your Holy Spirit. Do not cast us away when we are old, as our strength diminishes. Do not forsake us. Do not forsake us, Adonai. Be not far from us, our God. With hope, Adonai, we await you. Surely you, Adonai, our God, you will answer. I'm unmuted. Welcome back, everyone. I want to invite you to sit back. And before I begin, I want to offer my deepest gratitude to really all of you, without whom we would not be able to do this sacred Kol Nidre evening. I have to say it's quite strange, and we miss you deeply as myself and my partner are gathered, the two of us together in this sanctuary, without your bodies in the seats and your crinkling cough drops and your whispering to one another and the echoes of the music reverberating through this space. We miss you dearly. Canterburn Vogel, I wish you were in this space with me. I know you wish you were in this space as well. And my heart and my gratitude goes out to you, my clergy partner, whom has endured so much in the past 48 hours. I wish I could hug you and have you in this space with us. And we all send you healing prayers for you and for Ira and Aiden. And our temple president, Stuart Sweet, who was always there making sure that things function on Zoom, things function in our sanctuary, things function financially and in every other way for our synagogue and our congregation. We are so grateful to you, Stuart, for all that you do, of which the list is too long to name. our board of directors and our executive board. We would not be here without you. And all of you members, family, and friends. And if you're not yet a member, but you love this experience, you can become a member. And you can find out after the holidays how to do so. We invite you and we welcome you in our wide open tent. And we thank our incredible partners and our families who allow us and enable us to do the work that we do. Without strong partners, without sometimes agreeable children, without the help of caretakers and family members and bubbies and zadies and aunties, none of this would be possible. So thank you, each and every one of you, for allowing this experience to go forth. And of course, Jerry Ripley, our choir director, and our wonderful Emmanuel choir, and Michelle Anktel, who has blown shofar for us for so many years. We love you. We are grateful for you. And we are in awe. And our incredible cellist who has played with us for so many years. Michelle, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your sounds echo through this sanctuary and remain in our hearts. So with that, sit back and relax, and let's go on a journey together. I woke this morning very early, around 5 a.m. with an impending dread. Waking at these early hours from a deep sleep is always unsettling. If I'm fully honest, Emmanuel, these past 7 months, I've had many of these nights. I awaken concerned about our congregation, the fires, systemic racism, the political upheaval, and with fears about my family. These have been 7 months of deep anxiety, fear, and heavy grief. But this grief is different than normal. It's weightier. We've lost all sense of normalcy. We've lost loved ones. We've lost our routine, our work colleagues, our gyms, our children's schools, our spiritual safe havens. The losses experienced in these past 7 months have been more than those experienced on the tragic day of September 11th, 2001. My fears often center around what wisdom might best support you. Many of my colleagues who have been doing this work for 3 decades more than I say, this is one of the most challenging times they have rabbied through ever. It may sound odd, but I find comfort in knowing that this is a tough time for all of us. I realized last week that one thing we need to do is name the pain and the loss and the grief in order to move through it. We Jews are good at grief. We have an organized system set up. But in order to heal, we must first walk through the challenging feelings. This is how we seek the light and work towards hope. We must first acknowledge the stumbling blocks before us. Sometimes, when we've done all we can do, all that's left is to offer it up to God. God, we sit here tonight on the holiest of holy nights of the year. We're wearing white. We're imitating the angels. We're turning our hearts towards you. We cry out to you. God, please stop the hatred. Stop the senseless murder. Stop the racism, the death, the deep loneliness, and end this pandemic, please. We would trade almost anything to wake up tomorrow in a world surrounded with the comforts we once took for granted. God, I long to hug my parents, to invite them into my home without the fear of putting their health at risk. I miss my Emmanuel community so deeply. We long for hugs. We miss Friday evenings together in our beautiful sanctuary. We long to sit at the dinner table with others, to venture to the store without fear or concern. Take away this virus that has run like wildfire through our elderly, our young, so much unnecessary loss. God, end the hatred and division. Put out these fires. Please help our climate. Protect our firefighters, our essential workers, and cool the earth. God, tonight, we seek you. We reach for you. We long to know that you are with us, and please, God, send us strength to do the work of Yom Kippur. Help us humble ourselves and ask for forgiveness and offer it where needed with sincerity. Open our hearts. One trope that echoes throughout the history of the Jewish people: we've been through so many dark times, stemming from anti-Semitism, religious intolerance, genocide, and mass violence. A few examples include the destruction of the Second Temple, the Christian Crusades in 1095, the bubonic plague during the middle 14th century in Europe, when 100,000 Jews were burned alive because they were scapegoated for the plague, even though they were dying as well. The Spanish Inquisition, cholera, the Spanish flu, the Holocaust. So many wars in Israel, but still, we are here. We survived. During this pandemic, I find comfort learning from others who have been through horrific times, much more difficult times than ours. Eddie Hilsum, a Dutch Jew, a student of Jungian psychology, kept a diary from 1941 to 1943 when she died in Auschwitz. Somehow, this mystic and young student of psychology, while struggling with her own demons, found gratitude, optimism in the darkest of places on the planet. It seems as I read her diary that the darker times got for her, the more faith and hope she found. If she can find light in those times, so can we. She writes in her diary in 1943, "The misery here is quite terrible, and yet, late at night when the day has slunk away into the depths behind me, I often walk with a spring in my step along the barbed wire. And then, time and again, it soars straight from my heart. I can't help it. That's just the way it is. Like some elementary force, the feeling that life is glorious and magnificent, and that one day we shall be building a whole new world." When I hit dark moments during this pandemic, I open up Eddie's diary. How could she find gratitude for life while living in a concentration camp shortly before her death? What has kept me going through these tough moments? Acknowledging that which I do have: a community to serve, wonderful parents, 2 beautiful, healthy children, a partner, a loving puppy, a beautiful home, and the list goes on and on. Emmanuel, what do you have to offer gratitude for tonight? I find the more things taken away from everyday life, the more I grow in appreciation for them. I don't think you would find me a few years ago longing to give a hug to my parents. I certainly didn't appreciate being able to pop into a supermarket or store to pick something up without fearing for my safety or others. Take things away and we begin to miss and appreciate their presence. What do you miss, Emmanuel, on this Yom Kippur? Who sat with you in synagogue last year? Who did you celebrate breakfast with? Who was at your Thanksgiving table? How did you celebrate Passover during this pandemic? One thing I know for certain is that the Jewish people are a people made of resilient stock, that we will get through this together, just like we've come through so many challenges in our history. But tonight, as we gather to repair our relationship with God, we cry out in anger, in fear, in exhaustion, pleading to you, God. We raise our voices like the shofar, call for justice, work to end racism, wear masks and wash hands repeatedly until this pandemic begins to dissipate. Emmanuel, our work is heavy. There are hungry people to feed and clothe, fires to put out, racism to fight, tears to be shed, voters to get to the polls. Even though we're tired and overwhelmed and at times despondent, we are being called to keep going. Despite our exhaustion, this is not a time to stop or give up or think someone else will take care of it. In our texts, we read, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. We are not compelled to complete the work, but we must begin it tonight, now. Yom Kippur calls us to take ownership for our wrongs and our indifference. Now is a time for innovation, for connection, for healing and acts of justice. This is a time for speaking up and speaking out and taking action. You are needed, your heart and your time and your energy. Unfortunately, the hungry, the lonely, the elderly, those struggling to survive are not getting better. The disparity is only growing between those who need and those who have. And that means we must continue our sacred work. One of my favorite moments in Torah is when we find Moses at the burning bush. Moses asks God what his name is, and God replies, Ehyeh asher ehyeh. This Hebrew phrase is conjugated in the future tense. It means I will be what I will be. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs teaches God's call is to that which is not yet. Humankind is unique because we can imagine a world that does not exist. The Greeks gave the world the concept of tragedy and fate. The Jews give the world hope. We outline a system with which to beat despair, a call to heal, to repair, a belief in freedom. Rabbi Sachs writes, Judaism is a religion of details, but we miss the point if we do not sometimes step back and see the larger picture. To be a Jew is to be an agent of hope in a world serially threatened by despair. Every ritual, every mitzvah, every syllable of the Jewish story, every element of Jewish law is a protest against escapism, resignation, or the blind acceptance of fate. Judaism is a sustained struggle, the greatest ever known against the world that is, in the name of the world that could be, should be, but is not yet. There is no more challenging vocation. Throughout history, when human beings have sought hope, they found it in the Jewish story. Judaism is the religion, and Israel the home of hope. We, Emmanuel, are a people of hope who've endured much. What we are living through is minimal compared to the atrocities of our ancestors faced throughout Jewish history. Rabbi Akiva was burned alive with a Torah scroll wrapped around his body. We must wear a mask and wash our hands. This pandemic will end. Hopefully, in the not too distant future, we will see vaccines and begin to heal and return to our lives as they once were. God, on this holiest of nights, we gather in our digital sanctuary to seek you, to find comfort and in our community and strength to carry on in our world on fire. God, Hineni, we are here. Avinu Malkeinu, we cry out to you. God, hear our call. Answer us. Help us continue to imagine a new world, a better world, one in which pain is healed and through loss we are found. God, help us to dream again. Gamar Chatima Tova, everyone. We turn now to page 107 in your Machzor. Join me in the Machzor on page 107. Adonai, Adonai, God, compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving, and true, showing mercy to the 1,000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Amon Aleinu.
Please join me on page 121 in our Machzor, preparing for the prayer of memory. This holy night concludes with memory. Our last thoughts always are of those we have lost. We miss them especially tonight, yearning for their presence at our side. The service we have shared once was theirs. They spoke and sang the ancient words. They prayed, repented, and yearned for better lives as we have done. Flawed in their deeds, imperfect in their faith, they still drew strength from their tradition as we seek fortitude in ours. What was good and beautiful in their lives once gave us joy and now inspires us to reach higher. The knowledge that they loved us deeply brings comfort to our hearts so that we light candles of remembrance and gratitude. And we speak this timeless truth, Zichronam livracha. Their memory is a blessing now and forever. We pray that their goodness will live on in our lives, planting seeds of kindness and hope for generations to come. Our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days, and those who died at this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing in this new year and always. Emmanuel, tonight, gathered in our digital sanctuary as one heart, as one community, I will first read the list of names of those for whom our community is saying Kaddish Yatom. Please forgive any mispronunciations, none are intentional. And then I will invite you to unmute yourselves and add the names of your loved ones whom you are remembering on this holiest of holy nights, Kol Nidre. And then we will rise together to recite Kaddish Yatom in honor of our loved ones and our ancestors, feeling the connection from us through all of them on this holiest of holy nights. We say, Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing for them and for their families always. And our heart goes out to Canterburn Vogel and her family, Ira and Aiden, on the loss of their beloved father, father-in-law, and grandfather, Martin Vogel, this Shabbat Shuvah. We are holding you close, my dear, and sending love to each and every one of you. Their family is in a period of Avelut, and we add love and comfort and strength to these other families in a period of Avelut for the loss of Joan Selvin, Louis Plout, and Irving Warsaw. We say Zichronam livracha for Ray Bryant, Florence DeLange, Hannah Epstein, Nathan Ernstein, Rose Farber, Bernice Feldman, David Fisher, David Frank, Nissim Gershon, Neil Gilbert, H. George Gordon, Andrew Green, Jacob Jaffe, Ida Cotter, Jacob Laskin, Laya Levy, Ida Malakoff, Herman Kritzer, Helen Mink, Mildred Minst, Beatrice Marshall, Charlotte Olnick, Robert Rose, Gertrude Rowelski, Marvin Rubenstein, Joe Rudderman, Sylvia Rush, Rabbi Schimmel, Harry Siegel, Maurice Soltz, Rena Uffer, Saul Waldman, Arthur Wright. I invite you now to unmute yourselves and respectfully share the name of your loved one. If you, by mistake, speak over someone, please pause and give them a minute to finish the name of their loved one and then recite yours.
Ruth Slavic, Saul
Terry Ramos.
Bert Orland, Jack and Margaret Tankos.
Rita and Irving Miller,
Paul Harris,
Terry Ramos.
Harry Gimple.
Ben
Frank
Cohen,
Gimple.
Sandy Rosenfeld.
Morris Miller.
Sadie Adler, Maureen Morgan,
Myra Madoff.
Hay Rogers.
Fanny Tone.
Sandy Norian.
Carol Hayward.
Go on, say.
Aaron Rubin.
Marion B. and Howard Conowitch.
Lynn Standley.
David Lindenbaum.
Aaron Pluger.
Elliot Spotsky, Simon.
Esther Garibaya, Boris Gariboy. Gary Hoffman.
Ron Luby, Sherry Luby, Mark Luby, Henrietta Luby, Al Luby, Morton Aronoff, Rose Aronoff, Steve Luby, and Jaime Luby. And Jim Knox.
Del Ronson Nam, Horace Hamilton Nam, Sadhu Singh Sidhu, Janet Kaur,
Herbert and Rena Uffer.
Erwin Resnick, Clara Resnick, Richard Resnick,
Joan Cooper, George Cooper, Linda Cooper.
Alex Rudd.
Jaswan Kaur,
Richard Simon.
What is they again?
Ellen Hirschberg, Marvin Hirschberg, Diana Brody, Evelyn Brody, Herman Brody, and Bob Brody.
Brad Hyman wishes to honor Leon, and Megan Rains wishes to honor Chris.
My parents, Shirley and Harvey Hossman, and my brothers, Mike and Doug Hossman, and Paul's parents, Nathan and Eleanor Zipperstein.
And we pause for a moment to add any names of those whom have no one to say Kaddish Yatom for them. We lift them up tonight on this holiest of holy nights. And if you are able, we invite you please to rise for Kaddish Yatom. It is found on page 122 in your Machzor 122. And we recite together. If you wish to unmute yourselves so we can hear the cacophony of our voices together, bringing forth our ancestors, feel free to do so. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rava, Ve'almad Yikon Malchuteh, Hayachon Ve'echon, Hayei Dechol
Beit Israel.
Ma'agala
Yitadar, Yitaleh,
Le'ela u'le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata ushbechata ha'amira
Shema Rabban Shamaya.
Im
Hayim
alu
Inu Be'akol Yisrael,
Amen.
Amen.
Say shalom,
Say
say shalom,
Aseh
Aleinu,
shalom aleinu.
Israel.
Yisrael.
Amen.
Imru. Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together before we mute ourselves again, please join me. Amen. It is so beautiful to hear your voices. How I miss them. How I miss them in our sanctuary. One reminder to mute yourselves again. And now, in deep, deep gratitude, I turn our service over to our temple president, Stuart Sweet, to share some words with you.
Greetings, my friends. In a normal year, we would have all witnessed the parade of our past presidents and their families walking up the center aisle carrying our Torahs, our history and our legacy. But unfortunately, this year that is not to be. And so I wish to read to you the names of some of our past presidents. I wish I could go all the way back to 1881, but time being what it is. Note that I'm not going to give you the first names of our presidents, but instead give you the names of their families. To be a president of Congregation Emmanuel is not the job of one person, but the job of an entire family who supports that person. I'm incredibly grateful for the support of my wife, Francesca, and I know that each one of these presidents enjoyed the support of their entire family. I speak tonight of the Becker family, of the Rains family, of the Cutler family, the Katz family, the Simon family, the Luby family, the Weiss family, the Rabenstock family, the Gold family, the Orland family, the Kress family, the Spears family, the Maltzman family, the Strain family, the Zipperstein family, the Beasley family, and the Weissman family. How lucky we have all been to benefit from their gentle leadership, and how grateful we will all be next year when we can witness the parade once more. I would like to thank in this moment not just Rabbi Resnick, Canterburn Vogel, Jerry Ripley, Susan Damron, Judy Filsinger, Pam Sinque, Karen Lehman, and Deborah Holder, but also all of their families for all the support that they have given. We are all one congregational family, and we stand together supporting each other. Tomorrow, please join us here on this same Zoom and Facebook channel for morning services starting at 10 o'clock, for Yisker services starting at 1 o'clock, for a children's service watch party that starts at 3 p.m., and for the Neila service starting at 5 o'clock p.m. Folks, it is normally at this time the pleasure of the president of the congregation to announce how wonderful our High Holy Day Pledge Drive has been going. But unfortunately, I must come to you at this moment and say that we have not yet reached the heights that I wished we had reached, that we have not yet met the obligations of past years. And so I must ask you one more time, if you can, to go to emmanuelsb.org, make a generous donation. Also, in the coming week, you will be getting calls from our board members asking you to be as generous as the Rains family, as the Spears family, the Orland family, the Hyman family, the Scheimoff family, and so many others in making our High Holy Day Pledge Drive dreams a success. If going to the internet is not your style, you can call the office starting on Tuesday. You can ask that a pledge be added to your monthly commitment, or you can send a check to Congregation Emmanuel. We are all immensely grateful for those who have donated so far, but it is not yet enough. I also am glad to see so many people visiting us tonight for the first time. Names I'm less familiar with, but who I hope will become friends in the future. Membership to Congregation Emmanuel is open to all of the Jewish faith or those who are undergoing conversion in processes approved by our clergy. And I urge you to please consider membership to Congregation Emmanuel, whether you are local or whether you wish to become one of our associate members, those who are further away geographically, but closer in our hearts. And for those who are visiting us of other faiths, I thank you for the generous donations that I know you will be inspired to give at this season. Thank you all for participating and being part of this grand Zoom and Facebook experiment that brings us all as close as we can be, as safely as we can be. In the words of Bill and Leslie Soltz, next year, not just in Jerusalem, but back in our own sanctuary. I can think of no better way to end this speech than with that wonderful image. Thank you all so much, and may you have an easy fast.
Gamar Chatima Tova, thank you so much to our temple president and to each and every one of you for being with us tonight. For on this day, atonement shall be made for you, to purify you from all your wrongs. And pure you shall be in the presence of Adonai. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah has expounded this verse in the following way. Yom Kippur brings atonement for wrongs between people and God, which is why the Torah says in the presence of Adonai. But Yom Kippur can bring atonement, for transgressions between one person and another, only if the person offended has first been reconciled. We didn't want you to think that we're not live. We are certainly live with all our imperfections. And so we invite you and compel you, Emmanuel, to do that work which you must do this evening and these next 25 hours. And let them not just be that of abstaining from food. Let that be the work of tshuva, the work of return and renewal, the work of humility, humbling ourselves, offering and asking for forgiveness. And with that, we wish you a good Yontiv. We hope to see you back here at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Our deepest gratitude to each and every one of you. Erev Tov, everyone.
Thank you.
Erev Tov, Emmanuel, Good Yontiv. We will leave the Zoom room open for the next 15 minutes. If you wish to unmute yourself and wish Good Yontiv to someone, please feel free to do so. We send strength and love to you from our sanctuary to yours. Good Yontiv, everyone.